Hello, Commanders, and welcome to the RNG Endgame, a podcast about the game Marvel Strike Force. Your hosts are Frid and Creative. We're leaders in an alliance from a large cluster, and would like to share our insights with you to hopefully improve your gameplay and overall experience, and give you a little entertainment.
All right, Creative, we're here again for another episode, number 66, and we'll get right into it with gearing and leveling. So I have a few updates. I got the gravitoniums I needed to get to get Shatterstar to T15. So he's done from that perspective. And I gotta say, this was a more pleasant experience than the Oz materials for Nightmares that would never show up. These actually were appearing pretty often. I was surprised about that, so that was good. So I'm done with Shatterstar, so the Dab Bros are rocking and rolling. And then Phyla-Vell. The event is live. I was able to unlock her, and I already got her to the covered deck, which means level 65 T12, and I also did the T4 passive on her. I only have a 2-star because, you know, what's been happening with these events and me. I don't get any drops, so she still is very effective in player versus player with Nebula and Gamora.
And you didn't make any purchases. You don't have the Kestrel purchase unlock.
The boost that you're supposed to get or the whatever. It's a full-on curse. I opened 11 yesterday, and I think there was an 18 and an 8 and maybe a 5. The rest was a bunch of hodgepodge stuff.
Oof.
At least one of those was Bishop, which I needed a handful to get him to 6. So, you know,
nice.
having Bishop big on that team is great, which was good when I was doing mutant nodes, but I haven't been doing mutant nodes in I don't know how long. So I'm not using the team, but for war and stuff, it's helpful. And eventually, right, we'll all get to mutant nodes. So having Bishop up there is always good. Speaking of the Deadly Sisters, I am working on them to tier 14. Phyla-Vell will go there too. The whole team, if I can get Adam Warlock, which we'll talk about later in the show. But even if I don't, I'll get all of these to tier 14. So Nebula and Gamora, I'm on the way there. I did do the tier 13 because it's a sure thing, right? I'm taking them to 14. At this point, there's no changing minds, so I might as well just do it. And I don't know if you've noticed, but she's the new menace in Blitz. Like, if she's on a team and she's the big member, you'll see that she wins with no health, you know, because he revives. And it's like, okay, avoid her at all costs if you can. But yeah, so I did the passive on both Gamora and Nebula and Phyla-Vell. I think Gamora needs some other stuff. Maybe the special or the basic. I don't know which one it is. I need to look into it. But I'll wait on those. They seem to still be pretty scary and effective. Have you seen any of this in War? Creative is a question. Like defense or... I think they're supposed to be offense, right?
I've seen them on defense. People doing the usual, put the new OP team on defense just because people know how to play them and you get a couple wins.
Okay.
Someone used them and did some ridiculous punch up, like 200k on something.
Yeah, it's so insanity. Like, these characters are like, Gamora is one of the best characters in the game all of a sudden.
Went from absolute garbage.
I know. It's like, okay, maybe you overshot the rework, because if this team is already beating arena metas without the legendary, can you imagine? Okay. Next, ISO. This is a thing that I did a lot of, just trying to get all these Infinity Watch to at least 3, and then, you know, I got gun shy with Ghost after all. I was working on getting Ghost to the 5th ISO so that I can bring her to the tech notes, but kind of been able to do the tech notes without having Ghost. So I don't know if I should. There's no controllers that I can think in the horizon, but there's Hela and some others for Mystic maybe later. So I'm just holding, even though we're getting quite a bit with the Loki event, which we'll also talk about. I did do blue ISO on Doom, Kestrel, and Silver Surfer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Been opening the blaster and the controller
Okay.
and spending them. I don't know if that's right. At least Doom and Kestrel I feel really strongly about given the raids.
Mm-hmm.
Silver Surfer was kind of for the arena. Since he's only 4-star. I should be getting one next season, 5-star. All right, and then I don't know if I mentioned that I had gotten 5 reds on Phyla-Vell. Then I also got 5 reds on Moondragon. And all this has been with like a little bit of opening, which has been very lucky. I'm on a streak, which will probably break now because I've said it. But is it Colleen, Misty, then Phyla-Vell, then Moondragon? Have those been the last 4?
I think so, yeah.
I've got 5 on all of them.
Wow, that's crazy.
So I've been lucky, and I have over 100 of the regular and maybe 8 5s still in the tank. So I've been lucky there. Watch me wipe out and Adam Warlock and get like a 2 after opening 100 red shards.
Wow.
So who cares? It's probably not going to get him. All right. And then finally, Jubilee is coming back. And I need 20 shards of Ghost. And she's tomorrow, right?
But around for 3 days.
So yeah, so I've been refreshing the War Store.
Oof.
I got her today. But it feels so wasteful.
Yes.
But what are you supposed to do, right? There's no other way to get her, so that's the only way. RNG blesses you. And at least there's a second character that's worth it, which is Longshot. And I have a 6 red star. That's a shot for everybody, by the way, every time I mention that at home. So it helps me. But I hate spending the cores on that. It's kind of the worst way, but what are you supposed to do? But if I get the 20, it'll be a 7-star Jubilee, which I think would be really good.
That's just crazy.
So 6 minimum guaranteed, and then 7 for sure. I mean, potentially, if Ghost decides to show up. I saw the offer, like for $30 for 50 shards. No.
For all of 4 shards that you're gonna need, or whatever it is, 10 shards. No.
So that was it. So a little bit of everything. The other thing is I'm getting very worried about going bankrupt with gold. I have no orbs, and with payday I went above 10 million again, but I've been spending like crazy, and I don't seem to have enough, so I'm getting a little concerned. I hope they don't bring a milestone back, because I won't have enough to do that. So that's another thing that's been worrying me. I never faced the training thing. The gear has always been a thing, but it doesn't feel like it anymore. But now the gold, that's new for me. And I haven't heard anything about this getting addressed at all.
Well, I mean, we talked about it before. Instead of, 1 raid team, you now have to have 5. Instead of, 1 character to start a DD4 section, you need 4. So, or whatever it was. Yeah,
right,
4.
Right.
So, I mean, they're just going out of their way to force you to spend. Plus, we're at level 80 now, and it's 10 million instead of 5 million to get characters. So, we talked about it in the past. We saw Boylon and some others complain about it. I think Wilberthor's complaining about it. Periodically, it's one of the things he's definitely raised for a very long time. But still no commentary whatsoever, and they're trying to make us a requirement to get all of these new characters, which just doesn't add up, right? We can't continue the pace. So but you can't release an Infinity Watch every month either. So something's got to give. Yeah,
and I think they give you, if I do the numbers kind of quickly in my head, they give you enough where if they release 3 characters, you could technically, because it's like 10 million, you could technically max them all out. The problem is they rework 2 others that you need, on top of these to make the team. So that's 5 characters, and you don't get enough.
Well, and then we got a whole roster of 160 characters where the vast majority is nowhere near max level.
Right.
So,
and then they changed the requirements for the raids and the DD4. So, yeah. There's no way to get ever cut off. So, yep. But we'll see. I don't have a solution for this other than getting super strategic, which we always are about what we upgrade. But I feel like the Infinity Watch is a must-have.
Yep.
Anyway, Creative, what about you? I think you have some updates on DD4 again.
Yeah. So I did finish my second round of DD4. What a different experience when you don't have to wait 2 months in between nodes getting the gear. Again, horrible experience related to that. I did not take up Pella, and still used Kestrel and Silver Surfer in the Cosmic nodes. It took 1, 2, and then maybe 3 attacks or something like that. So that one took some time. I played a few more times the last city node and all of the legendary nodes, to the point where that's like the only thing I did for several days, it felt like. But all in all, I finished with 25 attacks. And for those that are keeping track, that was 1 less than Frid did. So all of those hours spent just to get 1 less attack than Frid. So, interesting tidbit. I did post in Discord just asking people's thoughts on Take Fury or Black Bolt. I ended up doing both of them. But I did Black Bolt first. His damage certainly helps quite a bit, but I found that in the middle problematic nodes of the final legendary node, the final one of DD4, Fury actually was much more helpful with all of his defense up, the minions and everything else, and that got me through a couple of the really problematic waves, particularly the one where JJ just cleanses every time. I also got a little lucky out of all the darn replays. That was the one time that I landed the Maul passive ability block on her. So that it might have been more of that than anything else. But I can't tell you how many times I replayed and never landed it. So that was kind of once in a million.
I found Fury very good too. The summons were doing the stun very frequently, it felt like.
Yeah, that was pretty shocking that you could slow and stun. I mean, thinking back to our DD 2 days, where you could maybe once in a million land the slow, once in a million land the stun from shield security. So that was impressive to see. Very different day experience now that Fury's minions get the benefit of the red star. So that was helpful. So, all in all, I am ecstatic to be done and never ever play DD4 again. I think you have been experimenting and doing things, and you can get your fancy banners. I will never, ever, ever play any Dark Dimension 1, 2, 3, or 4 again unless they start giving us rewards from it, because I don't like them. I do not like them at all.
Yeah, that node. City node is just as bad, and now I have a 6 anti-venom because of the blitz and whatnot, and it's still just as horrible. It doesn't really change that much. So yeah, I get you. I'm not. It's been sitting there for a couple days in the legendary. I'm like, I don't know that I want to do this anymore.
Yeah, so I'm not enthused about the origin challenges that are coming. Those are another things that you just have. The gameplay is like intentionally bad in RNG, where you have to just play it and play it and play it till you luckily get that one time where they don't attack this character. That's not content. That's complete RNG, which is just terrible experience. But anyway, it was better than DD3, which is not saying much, but it's so broken that they have to give characters the ability to do one of their OP abilities every time they play. I mean, the gameplay is it's rough. But anyway, let's move on. In terms of Blue ISO, or ISO level 2, whatever we're going to call this thing, I only did Kestrel. I'm just sitting on the orbs at this point. I will probably, and we get the orbs from doing crazy high pushes and Doom raids, which we'll talk about here. I will probably do Silver Surfer next. He seems to have some additional legs in the arena with the Infinity Watch. But I'm just going to hold on to them just for a little bit, just kind of see some things played out, and then we'll go from there. Now that everybody's gotten to see Blue ISO for a week plus, because it did just come out, I think, when we did our last show. We talked about how ridiculous this now blue ions are, and the cost to do things, the complete lack of control of farmability. So I'm assuming all week Reddit and content creators were blasting that. Hopefully they were. I didn't get a chance to look at much this week. But it's just a really bad experience in terms of leveling, and you open an orb and hoping you get 1 out of 5. I mean, this is as bad as it gets in terms of gambling mechanics and everything else.
And so, what is it that if we do 60% on Doom raid, you get 3? Is that it? 3, I think.
Yeah, I've noticed that we're getting. I think it's about 3. The other thing is, all of a sudden, I am now flush with raid credits as well. I think that's from getting further in Doom, but maybe I'm just not buying as much focus and all the other stuff. But with the current alliance we're in, I have so much more raid currency. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I think it's a combo of, because the same things happened to me, like not buying anything and then just getting further. I have 100,000 plus of that currency, which is something new.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, I used to have less, but there's real no crunch on gear, it seems, for what I'm trying to do. Thank God. But the blue ice is 3 a day, and each one gives you 4 items, 2 of the class that you want, but it's not even it's random. So I think I saw some videos of people that have like 10 of the one and 0 of the other that they need, and you can't level a character up that way.
Yeah,
there's no conversion rate or anything. You're just stuck. So
that's my big problem with supports right now with green ISO, is that I have 150 out of everything except for one where I've got 60, and I've been farming it for 2 weeks straight just to take one more support character up. It's just and it's only 2 nodes, and most of the time you get 2 or 3 when you farm the 10. It's really frustrating. So we'll see. We'll talk some more about that in a minute. In terms of Doom raids, we're doing raids at a different time. So the guy that kind of was starting off as quick as I was is now coming a little bit later in. But all in all, very comfortable with my lanes now. Very comfortable getting through or doing significant damage, I would say, through mutant bio, skill, and then tech. I've only had 3 characters, Kestrel, Doom, and Doc Ock, and I nearly cleared the tech boss. The biggest difference was I just had to play very, very carefully on the first 2 nodes to make sure that I had Doom's alt up. If you don't have Doom's alt up, it's just kind of a disaster for that node. But I might take up Min once I get those support crystals, but I'll keep looking at that. So today was the first day that we've gotten all the way to the end and literally attacked the last boss in our lane, which is Mystic. So even though we got the screw job from Scopely on the ISO requirements, we've been able to use these OP characters to our advantage and get very, very far. So what else? In terms of what am I planning on next, I'm going to take up the Axemen just a little bit higher. They do everything I need them to do in the Doom raids, but every once in a while I'll get one shot with either Beast or Bishop. So I'll take those 2 a little bit higher. I'm going to take Infinity Watch to at least tier 14.
I was like,
at least I've hacked the game. I've now got T16. No, I'm going to take him to at least tier 14, if not higher. And then I need to take a couple components of Wave 1, as Gamma is now right around the corner. And I have, just like you have, the dreaded middle lane. So I need to take up a few characters for that.
One thing with Infinity Watchers, I think they're all over the place, right? It's like skill, tech,
yes, bio. It's a nice change of pace, yes.
And then what's Moon Dragon?
Skill.
Okay, so 2 skill.
A bio, which is Fio, whatever her name is, Vel. She's bio. And then tech for Nebula, skill for Gamora. And then I'm assuming Mystic for Adam, but I haven't even looked.
Yeah, he's a Mystic. So
yeah, so it's a real nice
mix. Yeah, exactly. Versus the symbiotes, which is like, oh God.
Not
Would that
only
be
is it
it?
all the same, Matt, it's not only is it the same unique, it's just, oh yeah. So it's a good mix, but I finally got to update my roster organizer, and I need 10,000 superior spliced X genes. I need 10,000 superior secret intels, so I will be basically dropping focus for a little bit and farming those. Almost done with several characters in terms of farming. I've been farming the same ones forever. And I still have a ways to go, but Negasonic with the calendar, I've stopped farming her because I'll get where I need to go. But still farming Beast, Red Skull,
Red
Yelena.
Skull. Jeez.
Well, I never started him. I had other priorities, and at this point, I'm just doing it because he has focus on his node. To be honest, and then Yellow Jacket, I'm almost there in a couple of those, but I'll still be farming them for 2 months. Those 50 shards take forever and a day. And
Did
then
you
the
do
War
stature
Store.
or you don't care?
I already did her a long time ago.
Oh,
I think
okay.
I got her in a Mega Orb or something like that. So she's been done a long time.
Gotcha.
And then from the War Store, I'm not buying any gear, even orange gear. I'm only buying Ghost and Longshot. And I'm saving all of the War Orb currency. So, if we get tier 16 or whatever, I'll be ready to go for that. But I don't need anything at this stage in terms of that. I have enough what I need for the moment. I will actually run out of tier 14 gear and the skill stuff because I have to take a couple of those characters up, so that's depressing. But I have not opened any of those Armory 1 orbs with those in forever, so I'll give me an excuse to open that.
I have 60 something of those Armory 14s and 15 of the Armory 15s. So
wow, yeah, not so much for me, but that's nice. So yeah, that's some of the things that I'm focusing on. Just really not looking forward to Gamma, but it is what it is. And then maybe these Origin challenges will help with the Intel and the X genes. All right, well that's enough for gearing and leveling. Frid, you've got some numbers for us, so let's run the numbers.
Yeah, and they have gotten unoriginal about this, right? No changes in terms of the event, so my numbers never change, and we'll go through them anyway just to remind everybody. So I'm talking about the Phyla-Vell event. That's actually called a Vote for Loki. I guess it's a tie-in to the show. It's 15-day duration, which I think is one less than it has been, which is fine. It doesn't change the math too much. So just to remind everybody, if you are in the mid to end game, if you just want to unlock Phyla-Vell, all you have to do is complete all the nodes of the medium or hard and use your daily energy, and that'll get you an unlock, which is the 2-star that I currently have. If you want the 3 yellow star and you're a mid-game player, you need to do all the mediums and do 1 energy refresh. If you happen to be in the late game, I can do all of the hard nodes. Then using the free energy will get you a 3-star Phyla-Vell, which is nice. If you want a 4, which I recommend that you pursue, then for late players, all you do is 1 extra refresh. That's on average. Most people will do the 4 refreshes. That's kind of a baseline recommendation that pretty much guarantees you'll get at least a 4. But mathematically speaking, on average, with 1 it should be enough. Then another thing, if you want a 5 yellow star, then you need to do 7 refreshes per day. Mathematically speaking. Or if you're unlucky like me lately, I've been doing all 8. One of the things that I also should mention about these events is that whatever you're planning on doing, you should spend more at the beginning, right? And then you can always scale back if you decide, you know what, it doesn't look like I'm going to make it, or I'm running out of cores, or something else came up. But that way you at least had a chance. Because if you decide in the middle of the event, oh, I want to do 8 now, well, you can't make up for what's already gone. So I think it's important to remind everybody that You can start strong and like creative. I think he has like a 6-star already, 5 level, and I'll have a 2 because he had more luck than me. Maybe he can throttle it back towards the back end and say, well, I don't need to spend all these cores anymore. So that's just a little tip there. The last thing I'll say is about the orb. Not as good as, which one was it? The one before this one, I think it was. 2 ago was the really good one, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember now, but yeah, we've gone back to the usual junk.
Yeah, so there's 6. If you're in the end game, there's basically 6 characters that are interesting. That's Bishop, Iceman, Kitty Pryde, Moon Knight, Shatterstar, and Yo-Yo. And other than Bishop, I don't know about you, but I guess Shatterstar is important for Adam. But he's been everywhere, right? Like he's in the Battle Pass, Blitz. He was an event, right? Shatterstar?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's like, okay, none of this. And Yo-Yo finally, but because she's on the raid store. So she's still a great character, so can't complain. But I mean, Moon Knight hasn't been that exciting, right? He's just kind of a support player so that White Tiger can do her thing in the Shadowland team.
I still think he's awesome.
Iceman and Kitty, they're just kind of background players too, right? The trio,
poor characters. Giving
the trio,
background.
The trio of Bishop,
right.
Jubilee, and Beast are basically what you need. I do like those characters, but yeah, I wonder why you like Moon Knight. Random control effects.
Because he just puts so much red on the other team. It's just crazy.
A bunch of random stuff, yeah.
I mean, it's always going to be blinding. He always, at least when I play against him, he always blinds like my most important character because it's the AI. Puts
it's like the Spidey dodge bonus that we don't get, but the AI does.
Exactly. I don't know. Every time I play against him, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's just crazy.
Maybe he's underrated. I don't know. I think he's not that exciting. But anyway, that's the math for the event. Same as always. I posted the graphic. It's the same graphic, but I updated the character just so that you have it. But you can go check that out of the Discord. Anything else about the event? Did you read the story? I always ask you because I skip it.
Yeah, it's kicked off when I was kind of with family, so I had to skip over it. I may go back and try and read it. All in all, they gave us a preview of what the event was, and that was the punchline. So I didn't see a whole lot of extra stuff that we might have missed. The only last thing, and I put it in Discord, was there was a question or a statement about we need to recruit you two, talking about Moon Knight and Fiavel, because something big is coming. And so that was the last line and the campaign, the last node. So it'll be interesting to see what that is. A lot of rumors about what that is, Galactus and other things, but who knows?
Right, like we have had, and Mojo was in this. He showed up.
Yes.
And I'm like, he's not a playable character, but I guess he's in there. We've had Ultimus for the longest time. Then we have Doom, it's kind of now the bad guy, and I wonder if this is, since he's already obsolete by the time you got him. Now, he's awesome in raids, but you know what I mean? Like, the arena domination is about to end for him. Not that he anyway, it's painful. But they need a new bad guy, right? And then DD6 reward, because DD5 is just a bunch of gear and maybe some red stars on something.
But I feel like, and it's been so long, this is some of the complaints that have come out. It's just there's no content and there's no campaign events forever. And so you have a massive jump from whatever the previous chapter is to the new chapter in terms of difficulty. I don't remember where we left off. Like, we got Nexus Earth. We prevented him from going, but I think he's still out there, right? We didn't capture him or contain him like Ultimus, right?
I don't think so. So he may be saying he may be
still
back.
Running around.
Oh, could be back.
I don't know. I have to go back try and remember all this stuff. So anyway.
Well, campaign, the last thing we got was Doom War, and that went to 3. I don't know if they're going to add any or they're just going to add some new component of that.
Well, they'll have to add a chapter for the Tier 15 pieces.
That's right. 3 chapters, probably. with some other ridiculous requirements.
The
Probably ISO.
Ravagers are gonna be a requirement,
With
and
ISO 5? Yeah,
ISO
probably.
5, and then of course we'll make Pimtech a requirement because nobody likes them. Yeah, Wakanda, of course. Apex Raid Team.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, so there was another thing that came with the Philo event, and that is a Loki event. And what was it called? Campaign Mischief. And this is to get the President Loki uniform, which I find really cool. I don't know about you. I thought this was one that I'm like, okay, I'm interested in, even though we never see these uniforms ever, because he's going to be on stealth like for most of the time of the match. Plus, you never use Loki that much. But in any case, I thought the costume was well done. I'm glad that they're tying it to an event that we already do. So I think that's a good thing. And there's extra stuff, right? There's some orange gear. There is some controller ISO. There's some ion orbs. There's some premium ISO orbs. And it's a daily resetting event. So that's the good. I'm a fan of them adding things, right, for things we already did, which I think has been a bit of a trend. And while this requires some hoops, and I'll get to that, to get to the max, even if you don't do the max, you're getting extra for doing an event that you were going to do anyway. And I thought that's a good way to do it, rather than telling you, oh, now you got to blitz, to get this other stuff for who knows how long. But if you want to max it out, you have to do 7 core refreshes on the event, which, again, that's a lot of cores, but it would get you super close, if not guaranteed. No guarantees, but very close to a 5 Philo, which I recommend everybody to do. It's kind of like Kestrel, right? I mean, that you want to do that because she's a great character, and it's going to be part of the meta and useful in different places. So
yeah, we don't typically go into the stats, but I just quickly looked at her stats. I mean, if you do plug for MSFGG has a stat page where it has everybody's stats and you can sort them. You can do different yellow stars, red stars. But if you do her at 7 yellow stars, which we're not going to have anytime soon, and then 4 red stars comparative to Doom, she has more damage than Doom. I mean, how sick is that? Wow. So she's got high armor. Health was okay around top 30, but high focus, high damage. So just ridiculous stats, and all the headlines of the content creators are talking about. They keep saying power creep. They need to stop saying power creep. It's power leap. This is just phenomenally OP characters that we're getting in, and it's just it's going to cause a lot of issues. We'll see what happens here.
Yeah, so I mean, more not that you needed more incentive, but another incentive is to get this extra stuff would be to do the refreshes if you can, of course, which means you need to be doing well in arena and all that, but definitely a nice addition, and also very simple scoring method. Just use energy. There wasn't anything complicated. What do you think of this Loki event, Creative? Anything thoughts you want to share?
Well, you said it wasn't complicated. I couldn't figure out by just looking at it how you actually earn the milestone. It was like you have to spend these mischief tokens. And I'm like, where the hell do I get these mischief tokens? And I finally corresponded the
energy.
Yeah, the energy to that, because, and that's what it doesn't even say. It just says, when you actually go look at the purchase energy for the campaign, it's called the Vote for Loki Energy. But it was really a challenge to correlate all that together. But in terms of your more direct question. That's a lot of cores to get to the max level. Free stuff is free stuff, so we recommend in-game players at least 1 refresh per day. That way you get the 4 yellow star. But we have seen some commentary in Discord lately, some frustration even towards us about the fact that we can go spend these 8,000 cores for these events, and they were complaining about arena in and around that because that's the biggest supply of cores, and the complaints were varied. It was, one, arena fights suck because it's the same thing over and over again, and right now you have a coin flip of whether or not your Zemo goes first or not for those that are in the late game meta with Doom, Zemo, Emma, Kestrel, and Silver Surfer, it's like who can get the most ability blocks off on the right characters in the right order, and who can get a few slows, and then you have a much better chance of winning. But so talking about how it's Black Order, now it's this, so it's repetitive, it's boring, the RNG of the fights, and then the fact that arena shards have, I don't know, thousands of people in them, but only really the top 20 can really get the biggest benefit from these cores. And so, if you're in a very whalish shard and you get kind of screwed there, they're kind of hosed out of that. So, it's something that we were already doing, and we're getting a ton of ions from this. I went from 200,000 ions, and I'm back up to 1 million already because of this event. So that's great. But I do fear that we're continuing to cater very much to whalish type behavior, which is not a new trend. It's something that they continue to double, triple down on. So I appreciate the items, but I do worry that it's turning some people off.
Well, yeah, because if you go the extra effort, then you get more, which is always a thing that, hey, why are you rewarding these guys more? But that has been the case forever, right, in this game. So I do wonder, this criticism I have heard before, and people resenting like how many cores I have. Remember?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah.
And I don't understand what that, because I'm not a whale by any means. I'm like some kind of thin dolphin, maybe. I don't even know.
You're not a dolphin, and so we talked about this beforehand. We see people buy every character every month and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah, so I don't know. I guess you got to be very careful where you spend your cores. But I've even opened bishop orbs and stuff, and I still have my balance. Again, I'm getting top scores in arena, so that's probably part of it. And it's not fun because you got to be there right at the time. But maybe if I wasn't one of those shards that was really painful, I could feel this pain and be frustrated as well.
But I think it is a direct... when you put in the effort, by you do fights towards the end and you sit around at the cutoff, you actually do get rewarded, whereas other times you put in effort and you're not really. So
right.
And this is why we always say make sure your arena team is good, then raids, then everything else. So but it's certainly I've expressed the frustration that a lot of time cutoff is right in the middle of dinner, and I get the stink eye and I just can't do it sometimes. So I certainly appreciate the frustration, but it's something that we focused on from the very get-go, and we certainly recommend our listeners to focus on that as well if possible. Okay, well, let's switch gears and close out or round out the show with some news.
We interrupt this program for a special news bulletin.
And as expected, after the massive amount of vitriol and angst and other commentary, there was a statement, I think, by Zeke saying, we understand your frustration on ISO. We're going to go talk to leadership. I think even Cerebro said the same, that, your voices haven't been heard as much, and we're going to go talk to leadership. So, I still stand by the phrases we said last week for Scopely's motto: with everything you do, the bottom line has to be improved. This to me feels like the usual screw up apology tour, damage control. I'm sure they'll give us some ions or something, but it's not like they're going to revert this, right? That would cause, if they do revert it, then they've got to refund things, and that's more work. So I don't know where they're going to go with it. I mean, they do need to dump us with some ions or something, but it's definitely a unique experience that a patch comes out and we can do less in the game. So I feel like they have screwed up quite a bit. And so I think they need to do some things, but what they'll do, how quickly that'll happen, I don't have very high hopes. And everybody and their brother is talking about Marvel Future Revolution coming out soon, and so they're all going to quit and go play that anyway. I don't know, Fred, what do you think about this whole apology tour possibility?
Yeah, I mean, then again, you had the time to prepare. They explained that lengthy process that this is supposed to go through, as opposed to their patches, which I guess just go live without checking. But maybe that this is a step in the process, but it is good to see that the pressure mounted enough for them to say something like this. But it would have been nice to have it in the blog, and maybe that was their plan, because the blog was pretty light. But I guess they didn't get it quite where they wanted it to be. So you think we'll get like a middle of the week blog thing, or we'll just wait until Friday again for them to give it to us?
Yeah, I mean, the only time they've done that middle of the week was kind of character stuff. So I think Friday would be the earliest. I'm not even holding out hope for that. I think it's probably at least 2 to 3 weeks away before we see anything meaningful, to be honest.
Yeah. So thinking about that, though, I was looking today, and again, we have creative now. This is probably what explains why we're doing so well in raids, right? Because we have creative now as part of the team. But even with this and the whole thing, we managed to get organized and quite quickly get back to where we were in terms of Doom raid. So credit to the Alliance and the leaders on kind of getting everybody situated, and then every Alliance member doing what they needed to do to get us back to where we needed to be. I think we were hitting 70, between 60 and 70 in the raid season. And I checked earlier and we're like 40 something. So either we've adapted quicker than others. That's the only thing I can think about.
Yeah, we definitely adapted very, very fast.
We didn't waste time. And again, this is a raid focused alliance. We live for the raid. So everybody was probably almost there and reacted pretty quickly to get organized. And it shows. But I don't know that everybody was able to do it. It doesn't sound like it.
Oh, I know they weren't. Yeah, a lot of people are still not able to go do what they were doing beforehand, or even gave up on Doom and some other things. So
yeah, and maybe the tech nodes are easier, because I feel like Minerva's there and she takes some hits and dies, but the 3 others generally can close out nodes. A Doom, Doc Ock, and Kestrel. I mean, they basically wipe everything out. So, anyway, I will welcome any change that makes this right, so we can go further. Because to your point earlier, is we should be going further, right? And we're where we were, as opposed to progressing. So maybe we've, relative to other alliances, done a little bit better, but overall we're kind of where we were, right? So
yeah,
we should have been maybe hitting the next surfer milestone or something, and we can't until they address this. So we'll see what they come up with. But
yep. And we've already hit kind of our next item, which is the Infinity War is OP. Surprise! So I'm just going to call out, this is a double-edged sword calling this out. Philosopher put out a video where first he had a 4 yellow star moon dragon, and then now he's got a 6 yellow star moon dragon. All of this was just from the purchase via the store of using the, 800 cores for the shards. And so he spent, 40,000, probably 50,000 cores just to do this. And, he took in Infinity Watch into different game modes, and they destroyed everything. He took them into Arena and beat the current meta team, which we talked about before. Doom, Zemo, Emma, Kestrel, and Silver Surfer. And he beat that team not easily, but beat them pretty well. And that's, again, without Adam Warlock. So he threw in Silver Surfer with them for the ability block, which you need something on Doom.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It was hilarious to see a 6 yellow star moon dragon. No reds, because they hadn't even come out yet.
Right.
It was like, I did a double take. I'm like, wait, how did he get that? Oh, he opened and he had to refresh the store.
Yeah.
So that's crazy.
Yeah, so that's why I say it's a double-edged sword. This isn't anywhere near representative of anywhere close to the majority of the player base. The vast majority of us are going to have 4, maybe 5 yellow stars for Loki. Some other disclaimers beyond the fact that he spent, thousands of dollars, was he had a 6 red star Gamora. I think he even had blue ISO equipped on all of them. They're all T15. So But we've seen other content creators. OMG did took the Infinity Watch without Adam Warlock because he's not out into PvP and just continued to destroy him, won like 30 times in a row. So the team appears to be OP. Don't go spend that kind of money. It's not worth it. What else in the news? Data mines. We appear to have Misty Knight in the Strike Pass. So that's an interesting one. And then, Frid, you want to talk a little about our next legendary.
Yeah. But you kind of flew over this Misty Knight thing, and I do wonder their choices they're making to put these characters in here, because now with the Polaris situation, which I'll get into, I wonder if that's a signal or something with Misty Knight. Like at first I thought, well, she's kind of the most important, but
she just has to be there.
Right. It's like outside of the team, doesn't do anything. It really just needs to be there at the beginning to get all this stuff going, but then doesn't really matter. But then I'm like, well, maybe she becomes a requirement for something, and that's why they're throwing it in here. She did have a blitz, so maybe not. I don't know what to think, but hey, I welcome free shards, however they want to give them to us, I guess. So yeah, credit to Wolverthor for coining this term, I believe, for Adam Wallet, because it's definitely a legendary that will cost you money. There's no viable path, especially he's imminent, right? Maybe in a couple of weeks is what we're predicting.
2 weeks, yeah.
There's no way to get him without spending any money for anybody, really. I mean, I can't think of a way. Maybe if I dump all my cores into shards, I don't know. Orbs, I mean, blitz orbs, types orbs of these characters, but I think it's a paid situation. But let's go through the requirements. So, Shatterstar, he's going to replace Scream in this horrendous, awful disaster arena orb, which I don't recommend any of you open. Have you opened any of these, even for just to see?
I don't think I've even opened one for science.
I'm just like, it's the worst value in the game. I'm like, okay, I can't stomach this. So Shatterstar will be going in there, but I think as I covered before, he's been kind of everywhere, right? He's event, he got a blitz, he was in the which pass? One of the passes. Battle pass? PvP pass?
I forget.
He's in the Gamma Orb. He's been all over the place. So I think he's not a problematic one. To putting him in the arena is an interesting choice, but I guess it shouldn't affect most people. Scream is going to the store for $9.75, so the more expensive price. So I guess that's good, but not that good. At least you can directly farm her now, as opposed to this orb. So if you needed like a handful or something, this much better value than that horrible orb. But then they were silent about one piece of info, and that is what's going to happen to Red Guardian. Like, does he go to the cheaper price or stay at $9.75? Now, to me, if they didn't say anything, this means it's going to stay at $9.75, and they didn't want to inflame everybody with the blog post. Because if it was going lower, they would take advantage of the situation and go ahead and announce it in the blog post. Don't you think?
When I didn't see it, I certainly suspected that. Their commentary in the blog post a while back, though, was when a character comes out, they all cascade down, was how I remember it. So I'll have to go back and look at the wording. But I'm certainly hoping that they do not keep Red Guardian and Scream both at the ridiculous pricing.
If they lower him, then I'm going to go crazy to get him to 7. Finish him out. Because I have been accumulating arena currency as I haven't been using it for anything, right? I used to open Kingpin orbs every now and then for training and ABCs, but I'm not opening this other one because it's horrible.
And I'm just laughing because I'm reading the blog post that we're confident that this is talking about the arena store changes. We're confident that these changes will help to keep parity between new and veteran players while still providing suitable access, blah, 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 blah. So it actually doesn't come out and say it. It just says characters that have been around a bit longer, whatever that means, will go to the 500 arena credits. So still not clear. So we fully suspect that he will remain at the ridiculously higher price.
I mean, Guardian is newer than Scream.
Yes.
So, I mean, there's no way this... Yeah, it's $9.75. Pretty much, for sure. Okay, Shatterstar, the Blitz I was alluding to, I was thinking ahead of myself, is actually on Monday. So you'll get to Blitz for him, 100 shards up for grabs if you can make top 1%, but plus the 21, so 121 shards. But other shards available if you need to top him off. So
I'm a bit surprised that he was on Monday. I'm like, really?
Oh, yeah.
We just had 4 weeks of blitzing, and because you threw in Anti-Venom, you couldn't move him to Thursday just to give us a little bit of a break? That's just so strange.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to suck to continue. All right, so that's Shatterstar. Second person needed is Multiple Man. Multiple Man is going to be on a node on June 15th. So that's, what is it, Tuesday?
Yeah.
They gave us a date. So I forget the node, but it's where Taskmaster is right now. So get your Multiple Man. That gives you a couple of weeks to farm whatever you need for him. Longshot, as we know, was in the War Store. I have been buying him, as I mentioned earlier, along with Ghost. I want to get him to 6-star. And then we have Jubilee coming back around tomorrow. So you could get Jubilee. So that means, Creative, that we have everything we need, right? We have all the
fast.
Oh, crap. Did I miss one? What did I miss?
That little pesky Polaris.
Oh, boy. So guess what the news said about Polaris?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I told you.
Gosh. So there's no word on Polaris, which is clearly the moneymaker here. There was a data mine that suggested she was going to be a node. So no word means she's going to come out the day of the event or something. So they'll fulfill kind of their promise of saying, which is not official, but the unofficial, hey, all the characters that are required are farmable, fountainable before the event goes live. So maybe the day before we'll get her, which gives you a full day to get prepared and farm Polaris. The event runs for a week, and hopefully they'll do the 2x, so there's chances to get some more. But given the math we already did, even if you paid $40, you still 100 and some odd shards away from her, which it requires like a couple of weeks of farming with refreshes to even have a chance. So I think free-to-play and light spenders are going to unfortunately have to miss out on Adam unless they buy one of these 50 shard offers, which is horrible, for $30 or whatever it is.
And you were throwing some shade on Kitty and Iceman. I think Polaris is the same, right? She's like the character you least care about out of the 4. But yet you're going to have to spend money on her, which is that's a double whammy there. Least popular or needed character, but you've got to spend money to get the legendary.
I know, like they put it on Longshot. I'm like, well, sure, you're spending money, but it's Longshot, right? I mean, he's like part of the engine with Shatterstar. But Polaris is like, sure, she's nice, but nobody needs her for anything.
Yeah. So go ahead, sir.
No, the last word here is there was no mention on whether they're going to have an X Factor orb like they've had an Asgardian orb and an X-Force orb. And my chances, because there's no old characters, is that we're not going to have this. What do you think?
Well, I mean, so we've got a orb for the Pimtech team, so they always seem to have one. I suspect that they'll do one.
Well, it's because you can get Ant-Man and Wasp, but there's no such chance here, so I don't think they're going to have it. And it's only 4.
It's only 4, so it'd be the best odds you've ever had of these terribly overpriced orbs. Well, I still think they'll do it. More cores that people can get. So, I mean, yeah.
I'll be opening those if they come. I mean, I'll press my luck and burn 4,000 cores or something. I don't know. Maybe. Trying to get her.
Well, so just a little bit of a sidebar. So I posted it somewhere in Discord, I think our infographics, that we expect Adam Warlock to come around on the 28th, so 2 weeks after Jubilee's event. I didn't factor in that his event will be longer, the 7 days. It's the first round through. So these dates are probably off, and then Scopely keeps changing everything. But he likely would not come back until September 20th. So the good news is they've taken out half the legendaries and made them permanent, or this other faster rotation. So things come every 3 months. So we're no longer back to the 4+ months, but you still will have to wait the 3 months for him to come back around.
So if you miss out, you're looking at a whole summer without Adam getting beat in arena every day.
Yeah, this is the typical experience that I have. Got beat by Sinister for quite a while, and then get beat by the other characters. So, yep.
Oh my goodness. Well, I think we'll see. I have a feeling they're just not going to tell us anything about Polaris until the last minute, and then we'll panic and see what we do about her.
Yep.
You did open some of her, right? Before.
Yeah, I opened. She was a blitz or something, I think.
She was not a blitz, but the orb.
They had an orb for her. That's what it was. So I spent 2,000, 3,000 cores just so I can get an extra yellow star on her. I thought, at least she'll be usable in that vein. So.
Oh, so you didn't get a 180 or anything like that?
No. I just opened 10 or so, whatever it was. So.
Okay. Well. We'll continue to report as they get us more information on when Polaris will appear. But where are you, Polaris?
Might have to add her to the still haven't heard news section here.
It'll be soon enough, but there'll be some decisions that I'll have to make about spending and stuff. I haven't even bought the Strike Pass, the second one for her, but it's the only path that I have for her, so I probably will. Anyway, we'll wait and see what information we get and share it with you guys. I think that's it, right? Anything else you can think of?
Well, there was some posts on Twitter where they put about a graphic of all the recent characters, and it's not a lot of surprise mechanic at this point, or surprise news that Captain America really, Falcon coming over. His kit's already in the game. I think it's on MSFGG. Was one of the 3 characters listed for the next patch, and they had 2 silhouettes of the other 2, and there was a bunch of speculation as to who the others were, everything from Richter to Spider-Gwen and some others. So, but they've at least it wasn't a surprise announcement. It wasn't a closely guarded secret, since Captain America Sam is already in the data of the game.
Yeah, and the Secret Avenger thing had some people thinking, like Maria Hill or some of these other people, but apparently there's a whole storyline, and again, don't get me into Marvel comics and lore, but a whole secret invasion that had to do with this, and she was in charge, so she could be cool, but I don't know. Spider Supreme was another one. Have you heard about this? I don't even know what that is. It's like Scientist Supreme with Spider-Man. It's just weird, but 3 characters it looks like for next patch. So there we go.
Cool. Alrighty, well we'll close out the show with that. You can, as always, continue the conversation by stopping by on our Discord. The link to that is always in our show notes. You can do the old school method, sending us an email, rngingame@gmail.com. We're on Twitter, we're on YouTube, we're on all of your favorite podcast apps. And of course, you can always leave us a review on the Apple Store. So thanks everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy.
We'll talk next week.